Hi, my name is Ryan McDaniel. You also know me as Loremeister. I'm the lead content manager for S2 Games. Today we're going to talk about the new buildings and towers in the 3.0 map design. The new buildings and towers are very intentionally done once again. Like everything in 3.0, it's done with intention for both the new and existing player base. And with the 3.0 towers, we think we've really accomplished something that's going to be immediately noticeable for everyone who's playing the game. For the new player coming in, there's going to be a more dynamic feel for the towers themselves. And then for the veteran player, they're going to be able to see a new level of detail they never had before in the towers. The biggest changes is actually the towers have new animations. Before they were static, they didn't actually have an animation at all for either the attacks or an idle. Now they're actually living parts of the game, kind of like the map itself. The towers each have their own idle animation, so you'll see the various weapon pieces. That's also a new point. There's new weapons on the top of each tower. You'll see those moving and looking for a new target all the time, as well as idle animations on the structures on the towers themselves. Now, a lot of players are going to be concerned there's going to be a gameplay impact because there's a new moving piece of projectile, but there's no gameplay impact whatsoever. The movement for aiming at a target is instantaneous, just like how the projectile fired before. So it's just going to turn, fire immediately, all in one swoop. There's no tell or no knowing which player is going to be shot next. So there's no advantage that comes out of the new redesign. That's something we're very, very conscientious of. The towers themselves are actually structured to let the players know exactly what tower they're facing. A lot of players don't even realize it when they're coming in the game that the furthest towers do a little bit less damage to their heroes than the towers closest to the base. Well, now there's an obvious visual tell. Depending on which side of the map you're on, which towers you're facing, you'll see a different progression in the weapons that are on top. On the Legion side, what it does along that progression, it progressively gets to be more and more powerful, as well as more and more organic. The farthest out are very man-made, very technical looking, with just a little bit of that world tree essence. The vines are on the base and the little leaves. As you move closer, the world tree begins to overtake the towers, and by the time you're there at the base itself, the tower is completely entwined by the roots. The Hellborn has a different theme from the Legion, of course, where the Legion's life-based. The Hellborn starts out very structured, like it was created, and then it gets more and more corrupted by the lava and the flows that come up from the earth. So by the time you're getting all the way into the base there, it's basically this volcanic plume where these giant hands are jutting out, firing bolts of mystic damage. When designing the buildings for both the Hellborn and Legion, we were thinking along very organic themes. We talked about, just like in the towers where we thought about the influence of the world tree and the influence of corruption on the towers, we tried to look at the buildings for something similar. The Legion side still has a more structured feel. It feels more like a medieval village, and it's very intentional. You'll see pieces of the world tree entwined around the various buildings, but you can still tell they're man-made structures. On the Hellborn side, it still has the whole shrine piece with a brand new high-definition meatball. In case you were worried about losing your meatball, it'll still be there. And the Hellborn base itself is much more infernal in design. It's got a lot of negative energies there. It's a lot of hellfire. You'll see demons. You'll see the temples themselves look like a demonic maw. So the barracks are also very clearly identifiable as these sources of evil power. Thank you very much for joining us today to talk about the new tower and building designs. Look forward to sharing them with you on January 31st when HAN 3.0 launches.